to Tactical Teacher Institute. In this next episode of Understanding Firearms, we're going to be talking about handguns. And as you can see, I have 3 different types of handguns in front of me. Now, before we start talking about these firearms, I do want to make a note about gun safety. Tactical Teacher Institute has a whole video dedicated to gun safety, and we encourage you to check that out. But these guns are all completely clear, there's no ammo in them, and we don't have any live ammunition in this room where we're doing our filming. So to start, we're going to talk about probably one of the more popular types of handguns that you'll see around. So this is a semi-automatic handgun. This is a Glock 19 that shoots 9mm. Semi-automatic handguns work by the sliding back and forth with each shot of a bullet. And as it slides forward, it ejects out a spent shell and it picks up a new cartridge that is then fired. Semi-automatic handguns, just like all of these handguns, shoot 1 bullet per 1 trigger pull. Now, in the magazine, this is for a semi-automatic handgun, this is called a magazine. Some people will call it a clip, but it is actually called a magazine. I do have snap caps in here. So, when a firearm is empty, if you're ever in an incident and you are wondering if the firearm is empty, you will hear a click, just like that. That is a good indicator that the firearm is indeed empty and out of bullets. Sometimes that happens because they're out of bullets, sometimes there is a problem with the ammunition that's being used, sometimes the ammo might feed improperly. There's a variety of reasons why a firearm like this might stop working. Once a gun is completely empty, a semi-automatic handgun is completely empty, the slide usually stays back all the way. If it's ever time for the gun to be reloaded and you see this and you see somebody putting a magazine in, that's a good time to then do something about it if they're coming after you, because it will take some time to get a new magazine into the firearm and get the firearm ready to work again. With a semi-automatic firearm, if you are holding on to the slide, the bullet that is in it will shoot, but the slide will not be able to go back, eject the spent casing, and pick up a new round as it goes forward. It will not even be able to slide back. So that's kind of a good thing to know if you are ever in some time where it's going to be a life or death situation and you need to grab somebody's firearm. That's really good to know that if you grab it, only 1 round would be able to be shot, because this would not be able to articulate to pick up a new round. The next type of handgun that we're going to talk about is a revolver. So in front of me I have 2 different types of revolvers. So I have a single action only revolver and I have a double action revolver. We're going to talk about what that means. I'm going to start with the double action revolver. So this is a Smith & Wesson Airweight. This is a .38 caliber handgun. The cylinder spins out, and then each of the bores has a round in it. So this is a 5-shot revolver. So like I said, the cylinder spins out to be able to load it or unload it. I do have snap caps in here, and then the cylinder closes and the handgun's ready. This has an internal hammer, so there's no hammer to pull back. So this is single action only. It doesn't have a hammer where you can do both. So basically, all you do with this is you pull the trigger, and you hear that click. If this is empty, that's what you'll hear. Now there are snap caps in here, so once you are done shooting all the rounds, you can dump all of them out like that. So because these rounds stay inside of the firearm, if there's somebody who is doing a shooting with a revolver, you won't find shell casings laying around, because they would all stay in here unless the person opens it up and dumps all the rounds out to be able to reload. Most revolvers of this nature only hold 5, 6, maybe 8 rounds at the most. So they have a bit of a lower capacity compared to a semi-automatic handgun. If you ever come across somebody with a revolver of this nature, where when they squeeze the trigger, the cylinder spins, if you can stop that cylinder from spinning, it won't be able to spin to the next round, so they won't be able to fire it. So if again you're ever in a life or death situation and somebody is close and the only thing you can do is grab the gun, that can help it from firing. The next type of revolver is a single action only revolver. So with a single action only revolver, this is a Heritage Rough Rider and .22 long rifle. So with this, the operator has to do one of the actions. So I was talking about earlier with this revolver that it has an internal hammer. So this is the hammer here. As the shooter in a single action only revolver, you have to pull this back. So you pull this back and when you pull the trigger, it releases that hammer, and that makes the round fire. To load it, you pull this back, and you pull open this little trap door right here. And then you put a round in, turn the cylinder, put a round in, turn the cylinder, and keep going. This cylinder as a whole does not come out like it did in this revolver. So you have to more or less tediously put in a round each time. Now with this, every time you shoot the gun, you shoot it once, the hammer goes forward, you have to pull it back again, shoot it again. This is also commonly called a cowboy action. So that is how a single action only revolver works. It's one where you have to manually pull back the hammer, and the only action that the gun does is releases the hammer. So that's called a single action only. Now with a single action only revolver, the cylinder only spins when they pull back the hammer. So I don't know if you could see that there, but as I pull back this hammer, the cylinder spins. So once that's done, it's ready to fire, and they just pull the trigger and it hits on that cylinder there. So holding that wouldn't really do anything, but what you could do is get your finger in between here and try and stop the hammer from hitting. Most likely you won't see this kind of cowboy action firearm out on the streets or in any sort of incident. This is more of a specialty type of revolver. You will more likely see regular revolvers like this style where the cylinder comes out, and you'll definitely see semi-automatic handguns. Thank you for tuning in to Tactical Teacher Institute, to our series on understanding firearms. We hope that this episode on handguns has helped inform you and will help you be safer in all realms of your life. We ask that you check out our Facebook page and please subscribe to our Tactical Teacher Institute YouTube channel. Thanks so much.